it needs to be said. I can relate to that young lady, and I felt for her.
Mm-hmm.
I know what it's like to be hated. I know what it's like to be a black woman and hated because of my color.
Yeah. Now, what I would love Caitlyn to do is get up one time and then just slap the...
Hello and welcome back, my dear and lovely viewers. Today I'm back with another brand new, amazing, and interesting video that you won't want to miss. So, make sure you stay with me until the very end. Now, without wasting any more time, let's jump right into today's video. What happens if one of the greatest basketball stars ever sees the most talented young player in the WNBA being singled out by questionable methods? You'll find out because Cheryl Miller's explosive comments about Brittney Griner's behavior against Caitlin Clark have utterly shaken the basketball world. But first, let me ask you a question. Have you ever seen an elite athlete targeted the way Caitlin Clark has been throughout her career? Because of what she witnessed during the game, Cheryl Miller's view of the WNBA has entirely changed. This is the aspect of Cheryl Miller's perspective that Brittney Griner finds so devastating. Right now, Caitlin Clark is exactly where Cheryl Miller was. Cheryl Miller was the top player in a league consisting of incredible athletes from 1982 to 1986. Because they couldn't match her outstanding basketball IQ, they tried to physically intimidate her. Cheryl Miller, however, emphasized this crucial distinction. This is the point at which Brittney Griner's reputation becomes truly fascinating. Cheryl Miller understands the difference between what she saw in the mob scenario and championship-level competitive basketball versus what she is seeing with Caitlin Clark. In her words, it was the most cowardly act she has seen on a basketball court in decades. You heard right. If you appreciate this content, consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel. Believe it or not, more than 90% of viewers haven't subscribed yet. It's free and only takes a second, but it means the world to us. So, did you subscribe already? Great. Thank you so much for your support. Now, back to the video.
Clip. After she made a foul play, Griner appears to mouth something rather controversial. It might be, though we don't know, trash and possibly fucking white girl. Others have suggested it might be trash and fucking whack call. We don't know what she's mouthing, but she seems to, have a mouth on her and not exactly be in the gratitude space. Griner herself hasn't commented. Now, why is that? If you were being accused of making racist statements, I think you'd want to clear that up quickly. You'd race to the cameras and put out a statement on X to say, I said fucking whack call.
When Cheryl Miller reviewed the footage of Brittney Griner pushing Caitlin Clark, her initial reaction was sharp and direct. Even she could see that Brittney Griner's behavior was completely beyond the accepted norms of sportsmanship and competitive honesty. But listen to what Cheryl Miller had to say about the exact timing of that shove. At this time, Brittney Griner is utterly heartbroken by her analysis. Before we continue, if you haven't already, consider subscribing to WNBA Core. The basketball legend raised an issue that many fans have been thinking about, but nobody with her level of clout had the courage to voice publicly. Taking cheap swings at a player while they are completely exposed and looking away is not the same as playing championship-level defense. Cheryl Miller emphasized that most people considered her era to be among the most physically taxing in basketball history. Instead of waiting for someone's back to turn before acting like a predator, you faced them head-on like a warrior when you had a dispute on the floor. And that is exactly what Cheryl Miller found most offensive about Brittney Griner's actions. Right now, Brittney Griner's reputation has been deeply impacted by Cheryl Miller's comments. Brittney Griner's post-game reaction particularly infuriated observers. Instead of apologizing or acknowledging that she might have gone too far, Brittney Griner acted as if the media and fans were unfairly condemning her, stating, "Damned if I do, damned if I don't." But after hearing such comments, Cheryl Miller became even more irate. The game's winners and true legends always take full responsibility for their actions, even when those actions could put another player in grave risk. According to Cheryl Miller, watching Brittney Griner play the victim and avoid criticism reminded her of athletes who privately knew they couldn't compete at the highest level based on skill alone. As a result, they resorted to questionable tactics to affect the game. In other words, because Brittney Griner may lack the pure perimeter skill to match superior young talent, Cheryl Miller effectively characterized her approach as that of a player relying on unethical tactics. This is where Cheryl Miller's perspective shines and reveals a fascinating aspect of Caitlin Clark. Cheryl Miller believes that Caitlin Clark possesses the same rare qualities that made her one of the greatest basketball players in history: her exceptional basketball IQ, her clutch shooting ability, and above all, her natural gift to elevate everyone around her. As someone who deeply respects the ethics of basketball, Miller also observes something that genuinely concerns her. This incredibly talented young athlete must constantly stay on guard for cheap shots and dirty plays rather than focusing entirely on fulfilling her boundless basketball potential. Cheryl Miller claims that Brittney Griner's approach exemplifies everything wrong with how certain players choose to defend Caitlin Clark, rather than pushing themselves to match her skill level or outwork her through dedication and preparation. It is a disturbing pattern when a player is physically targeted while most vulnerable. This behavior, according to Cheryl Miller, represents the worst kind of basketball competition she can think of. Because of this, the entire basketball world is discussing Cheryl Miller's provocative commentary. Caitlin Clark's situation was compared by Cheryl Miller to her own experiences with physical intimidation throughout her career. She did, however, quickly call attention to something that elevates and contextualizes Clark's situation even further. She pointed out that at only 22 years old, Caitlin Clark is facing far more adversity than the majority of athletes encounter over their entire careers, all while carrying the weight of being the primary face of women's basketball. Meanwhile, players have expressed frustration about how much the environment around the league has shifted. What used to feel like a quieter atmosphere has turned into massive crowds, intense noise, and heightened pressure every single night. Some players feel the spotlight and scrutiny are overwhelming, but Cheryl Miller's comments regarding the broader message being sent across the league are making rounds on social media. Cheryl Miller claims that if the WNBA allows players to target superstars without facing real consequences, it sends a message that mediocre players can turn to unethical means to stay relevant instead of developing their true skills. She asserts that this creates a dangerous precedent that may deter elite players who are raising the bar for the entire league. Cheryl Miller went so far as to claim that failing to penalize these behaviors deceives young athletes watching at home. Instead of showing kids how to target opponents, she believes watching the WNBA should teach youth about skill, dedication, and sportsmanship. Perhaps the most significant part of Cheryl Miller's statement was her prediction regarding Caitlin Clark's future despite these ongoing challenges. She asserted that Caitlin Clark was molded by adversity and that every cheap shot, dirty play, and effort to intimidate her will only make her more determined to prove her dominance through pure basketball skill. Cheryl Miller compared Clark's situation to her own rookie season, when rival players constantly tested her physically to see if she could handle the pressure. She noted that the key difference today is that Caitlin Clark is dealing with this physical play alongside unprecedented media attention and high expectations as the most marketable player in WNBA history. This is why Cheryl Miller's backing of Caitlin Clark carries so much weight. She isn't merely defending a gifted athlete, she is protecting basketball's inherent integrity. She believes Caitlin Clark possesses all the qualities that define the sport at its best: vision, talent, poise, and elite competitiveness. Conversely, she sees tactics like Griner's as detrimental to the growth of the game. The basketball veteran made it clear that the WNBA is at a pivotal turning point. They have two options: either continue allowing players to employ dishonest strategies to stay relevant, or actively protect and highlight their premier stars, enabling talent like Caitlin Clark to reach full potential and elevate the entire league. Cheryl Miller's message was clear: the league's future will depend on the choice it makes. Now, this is the question that has everyone talking: will Cheryl Miller's warnings regarding the protection of Caitlin Clark be taken seriously by the WNBA, or will they continue letting players use dubious tactics that damage the league's reputation? Let's continue the conversation in the comments section below. What are your thoughts on Cheryl Miller's damning critique of Brittney Griner's actions? Do you believe she is being overly critical, or are her points entirely justified? More importantly, do you think the WNBA will step in to protect its biggest star? Kindly express your thoughts down below. I read every single one of them. If you want to see more analysis like this that cuts through the noise and breaks down what is truly happening in basketball, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell for WNBA Core. Caitlin Clark's treatment in the league may finally shift as a result of these high-profile commentary moments, and the basketball community is watching closely. If the league doesn't step up and protect its top talent, tensions are going to remain extremely high. As this situation progresses, one thing becomes harder to ignore: discussions are no longer limited to a single game, one hard foul, or an isolated incident. This is about the future direction of women's basketball, the standards the league chooses to maintain, and how its top draws are treated when global attention is focused on them. Few athletes have ever faced the level of expectation placed on Caitlin Clark entering the WNBA. Millions tune into every game she plays, every move is scrutinized from every angle, every success is celebrated, and every setback makes national headlines. That is the reality of being one of the defining figures in modern basketball. In the meantime, league veterans continue to compete at the highest level, bringing years of toughness, experience, and pride to every game. The challenge for the WNBA is ensuring that intense competition never devolves into dangerous or non-basketball play. Fans want intensity, rivalries, and real basketball, but they also expect fairness, player safety, and mutual respect on the court. Cheryl Miller's comments sparked a passionate debate because they come from an icon who understands exactly what it means to perform under extreme pressure. Throughout her legendary career, Cheryl Miller faced some of the toughest defenders and most physical opponents in sports history. Yet, her message wasn't about removing physicality, it was about preserving the game's integrity and ensuring that basketball skill, rather than cheap controversies, remains the central focus. Whether you completely agree with Cheryl Miller's stance or believe the situation has been blown out of proportion, there is no denying that her words have people talking. How physical play against top stars should be handled remains a primary debate among fans, pundits, former players, and media figures. Do officials need to call games more strictly? Should the league enforce stiffer penalties? Or is this simply a standard aspect of professional basketball? Everyone seems to have a different perspective. Caitlin Clark's response on the floor remains unquestionable. She continues to focus entirely on basketball rather than letting controversy, physical defense, or outside noise define her career. She keeps showing up, competing, and proving why so many view her as the cornerstone of the sport's future. Her resilience is one of the main reasons her global fan base remains so dedicated. The WNBA is receiving unprecedented mainstream attention. Social media engagement is surging, arenas are packed, TV ratings continue to climb, and new fans are discovering women's basketball every day. Moments like these impact the entire perception of the league worldwide. As the season continues, every matchup becomes increasingly significant. Every game Caitlin Clark plays will be closely analyzed, every controversial whistle will be debated, and every outcome will add to the storyline of this historic season. Now, the final question goes to you: do you believe Cheryl Miller's comments accurately reflect the current state of the WNBA? Is the league taking sufficient steps to safeguard its marquee players while preserving physical basketball? How do you see this entire situation impacting Caitlin Clark, Brittney Griner, and the league moving forward? I sincerely want to know what basketball fans around the world think. Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. Respectful discussion is what makes this community great, and your viewpoint might even be featured in an upcoming video on WNBA Core. Make sure to press the subscribe button, enable notifications, and never miss another upload if you enjoyed this breakdown and want more in-depth basketball analysis, exclusive updates, and major coverage surrounding the WNBA, NBA legends, and Caitlin Clark. Thank you so much for watching and for your amazing support of WNBA Core. Leave your thoughts in the comments, hit subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss an update. Click the video on your screen to keep watching, and we'll see you in the next one.